Commodity Group says farmers in Iowa and 11 other Midwestern states are not getting payments they were promised from the United States Department of Agriculture. The Iowa Soybean Association reporting $11 million worth of grant money has been paused for farmers enrolled in the Soil and Water Outcomes Fund. That's a program partnering with the private sector to pay farmers for on-farm conservation practices. Adam Keel is the group's managing director, and he tells us what the impact could be on growers right around here.
Thanks for joining us today. This grant money from the USDA is also paired with money from the private sector as well as what I put together. And there's about 12 Midwestern states that you cover with a lot of your participation from Iowa farmers, right, locally kind of in this area too. It encourages farmers to have conservation practices implemented on their farms. Can you tell me a little bit about those practices that they might be getting payments for?
Yeah, so you're spot on with the states. So 12 Midwestern states from North Dakota down to Kansas, over to Ohio, kind of the Midwestern states that we all think of. And the way the program works is we pay farmers who implement practices. And to answer your question, it's commonly cover crops or reducing tillage or a more diverse crop rotation. Those are the kind of practice changes that we encourage farmers to make. And then farmers are paid for the environmental outcomes that those practices produce. So think about water quality improvements, soil improvements, carbon improvements. The average payment across the acres that are enrolled in the program is right around $33 an acre. And we're through the grant, we're almost 2 years through, and we've got 900,000 acres enrolled. So as you mentioned, most of that enrollment or I should say a good share of that enrollment is in Iowa. Around 280,000 acres is in Iowa. In Illinois, a little bit smaller than that, but we do have significant acres enrolled in Illinois as well.
So today we're talking because you got some word recently about a hold potentially on some of these funds. Tell me a little bit about that timeline and what you're hearing right now.
Yeah, so first, maybe just a reminder, this is a grant. And the way USDA works with grants is that it's a reimbursement. So projects like ours have expenses that then are reimbursed by USDA on a monthly or quarterly basis. So we have expenses like recruiting farmers, enrolling farmers, those kind of activities. But the big category of expense we have is reimbursing farmers for expenses they have with the practices that they're implementing. And recently we got word that USDA has put those reimbursements on hold. Now, what exactly that means is a little unclear at this point in time. This is pretty fresh information, but the longer this hold goes on, the more we worry that there may be a stoppage or a significant delay in getting those funds and ultimately the funds to the farmers for the work that they're owed.
I was going to follow up with that. Some of these programs or some of these practices, in my knowledge, are kind of costly for farmers to invest in. So tell me about what would happen if they don't receive some of these funds that it sounds like they were promised from the USDA.
Yeah, so the way our program works is farmers enroll, and let's just say a farmer is going to implement cover crops with us. They most likely enrolled back in July or August of 2024. At that point in time, we provided them half of their yearly contract amount. So they did get some funds at that point in time. Well, we're kind of in this middle ground where we've made that first payment but haven't made the second. So what's really at jeopardy here is that second half of the payment that farmers are owed for work that they've already completed. I mean, I can't speak for every farmer's financial situation, but agriculture is feeling some pressure, not just soybeans, corn, other crops. Commodity prices are tough right now, and breaking even is maybe what farmers are shooting for, but there's a lot I know that aren't at that point. So any sort of help through other revenue opportunities that they can access, like this program, might be the tipping point for helping them maintain the farm for another year.
Adam says the group has been reaching out to elected officials, hoping to help farmers get reimbursed for those expenses. He says in addition to the $11 million under contract, about $86 million is at risk of farmers who could sign up in future years.